If you like football's the place for you. Just make sure that you stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to show 5 of this mini-series here. Hope you're all doing very well. Yes, as you can see, we've come virtual on the internet because we had very limited amount of time on the day we were recording the other 4. Hope you're all doing well. As ever, I am joined by my co-host. We've got Harry. Hello, Harry.
Hello.
And we've got Nick down here. Hello, Nick.
Hi, Cameron.
And Nick has magically appeared because he was not meant to be here. It's meant to be us two, but his internet came back to life and he is here with us over on Zoom. Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thanks, Faz. How are
Your
you?
internet's doing good, right?
It's better than it was.
Lovely, jubbly. It's the area he lives in, ladies and gentlemen. He just lives in a not a very internety place, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a very internety place.
Exactly. Right, hope you're both doing very well. Remember, like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. Harry, over to you, my friend.
Okay, so this is going to be the 5th part of our 5-part series, and we're going to start with the talking points of today. So we are recording this on Saturday, 5 days
Saturday,
after
the
other.
8th of August, I should say.
That's the one. 5 days after the other 4 shows were recorded. So we've got some more news. We've got the Champions League results yesterday. Man City and Lyon progressing against Real Madrid and Juventus. And then we've got the managerial news, which was Maurizio Sarri being sacked by Juventus, and then Bournemouth appointing
Jason Tyndall.
Jason Tyndall, who was Eddie Howe's assistant for many years at Bournemouth. I think he was first associated with the club in 1998 when he joined the club on a free transfer. Cameron, do you think this is a good way for Bournemouth to go forward with this appointment of Howe's assistant? And also, why didn't they just, if Tyndall's been the manager, surely they could have just persuaded Howe to stay in the Championship and try and get them back up to the Premier League. If not, does Howe have a Premier League job lined up?
Sorry, when you said Howe, does Howe? Right. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, I was very surprised by the decision of sacking. Let's just call him sacking.
They didn't sack him.
They did not sack
him at all.
No.
Not call it sacking because that's not what happened.
Well,
They didn't sack him.
Let's just say he stepped down. He stepped down.
Yeah, he stepped down, but surely they could have done more to keep him at the club if they're not going to go and appoint anyone else. And Eddie Howe must be going to a bigger club if.
He said he doesn't. He's not going to think of going to another club for a very long time.
So he's going to stay out of management then.
Yeah, maybe he wants like a year out or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I think they made a mistake getting rid of him.
They didn't get rid of him.
Well, we don't know the ins and outs and what's going behind the scenes. We don't know. Let's just admit we don't know what's going. They might have sacked him. They might have not sacked him. He might have stepped up. They're not going to come out. They're not going to come out and say
we sacked him, which is what like 90% of the other teams do.
They would do that.
We're not sure though. We don't know what goes behind the scenes, do we? No.
Okay.
And what do you think about the Maurizio Sarri sacking, Nick? Do you think it's deserved after 1 year at Juventus?
I mean, a club like Juventus need success, not just on a domestic level because they get it every year, but they have been striving towards that continental goal of winning the Champions League for a while now. But even with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo joining them, they still haven't been able to do it. And I think that's ultimately why he's gone. And also the style of football being played. I know a lot of Juventus fans aren't happy with the sort of boring football that they're watching.
Sorry ball, as they like to call it.
Oh yeah, which I guess is understandable considering you're supposed to be one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Can I just say, I keep thinking now, Sarri's turning into a one-season manager at one club, if you know what I mean. He was at Chelsea for a year. He's been at Juve for a year. Is he going to be at his next club for a whole year and get sacked?
Nick, do you think he'll get another top job now after getting the jobs at Chelsea and Juventus and failing at both ultimately?
First of all, I think failing at Chelsea is a harsh term to use. I thought the sacking from Chelsea was a very harsh one. But I can't see him going to, a real prestigious top European club. But I think somewhere, like he was at Napoli, I think that sort of level, he can still definitely get the job at, because he is a good manager. It hasn't worked out for him this season. We'll see where it takes him.
And Cameron, Maurizio Pochettino, I believe, is in line to be the new Juventus manager.
Yes, he is.
Former Spurs boss, of course.
Yeah.
What do you think of that appointment? Do you think it would be good for Pochettino and for Juve?
It'd be a big loss for Spurs. I can tell you that, because Tottenham made a mistake getting rid of him, firstly, because he would have taken them to places. But now I think if he goes to Juve, he's going to turn Juve into a real force. He will turn them into a real force, because Maurizio Pochettino, he doesn't have the trophies to back that up, but he's a very good manager. He took Spurs to a Champions League final with a very weakened side. He beat Ajax in the build-up. What more could you want from Maurizio Pochettino? He's a very good manager. He'd be a very good appointment for Juventus. So I would not be surprised if he does go to Juventus, and that will be a very good appointment and a huge loss to Spurs, I should say.
Okay, well, let's move on to the team that's featuring heavily behind you there, Cameron. Arsenal. I can see the poster behind you. Let's talk about the FA Cup final. It was a whole week ago now. What do you think of Arsenal's performance, and do you think it's really important that they get Europa League for next season? Now they've won that, or would it be better to not be in Europe at all next season, just so that they can focus on the league?
Well, let's just say it was a. I don't want to swear.
Lucky performance.
It was a brilliant performance. It was one of the greatest performances. I think it was better than the semi-final win over Man City. Absolutely superb by the boys. And should I say, congratulate Arteta for doing an absolute job, winning the first Arsenal player to win an FA Cup as a captain and as a manager. Very, very amazing from him, I should say. Now, let's get on to the real talk. Yes, I do think it's important for us to be in Europe because of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, as we know, because I think if we had lost that final last week, he would have been gone out of the door. And European football is very important for Arsenal because they've been in Europe since Arsene Wenger was in charge since '96. So yeah, I think it's very, very important, and we did very well to beat Chelsea. And pressure was on us as well. Let's get that straight. There was pressure behind us to win that cup, to get to Europe, which we did. And Europa League football next season for a fourth time, I think. Here we come, and let's see if we can go on to win that. And I think we've got a real good chance if we keep hold of Aubameyang. We buy some good players over this summer.
So Cameron, just quickly, do you think Aubameyang will definitely stay now at Arsenal and sign a new contract?
Apparently he's already signed a new contract, just not announced yet. So apparently he's been offered a 3-year deal as well. So let's just hope in the coming days he has signed, and by the time we do a new show, he is still an Arsenal player. Nick?
Nick, what do you think of the Kovacic second yellow card that resulted in his red card? And do you think that needs to be a change in VAR for next year where they can actually look at second yellows?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think everyone agrees it's not a second yellow at all. And why?
At first thought, I'm not going to lie, at first thought I thought it was a yellow card, but watching replays, I thought it was a bit of a stupid...
Yeah, well, exactly. If VAR could, was allowed to watch the replays again or something, then they would come to the same conclusion. But for some reason, the rules state that you only see it if it's just like a straight red or something. And it cost Chelsea quite dearly.
Hang on. But I don't really think it would have affected the game that much because we were 2-1 up anyway.
Oh, you're right. A player losing a team losing a player wouldn't affect the last 20 minutes of the game. That's not how football works.
It was around the 73rd minute. And
so 20 minutes left of the game?
Well, there was about 100 stoppages in that time. And I don't, honestly, I think we would have still held out against 11 men.
Maybe you would, but we can't tell for sure. You're just taking a punt at that. If Chelsea had 11 men, which they should have, maybe it would have changed.
Yeah. Well, what's surprising actually is the Premier League earlier this week have actually had a meeting about VAR for next season and the changes, but there was nothing about looking at second yellow cards. They just said they want referees to use the pitch side monitor more often, and there are more details on encroachment and goalkeeper positions during penalty kicks. So nothing really significant about second yellows, which is surprising. I thought they might do something about that, especially after the FA Cup final. If a goalkeeper steps off their line at all and saves a penalty, then it has to be retaken. And because last season that's happened and they've been a bit of leeway, but that's the rules set in stone there. They have to retake it.
Can I just say, the prime example I remember was not this season just finished, the season before when there was no VAR, when was it Vertonghen encroached into the box when Aubameyang was taking his penalty and he missed it. That should have been retaken.
And another rule that they voted on was actually Premier League is going to have 3 subs again next season instead of 5, which is I think is a really good thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that substitutes one, it's good for teams with less squad depth, the less financially healthy teams. Because I remember at a time when Hull were promoted, they only had about 13 fit players at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So for teams, in similar positions to that, it's a really positive outcome.
Hang on. So does that mean in Europe we're going to stick with 5 subs for next season?
I think individual leagues have their own votes. So some European leagues will have 5.
No, I mean like in Champions League and Europa League, not actually like in Champions League.
I'm not sure that's been decided yet. They might do.
Because if that's the case for the teams from England in Europe, that's going to be a bit having some games 5 subs, having other games with 3. So that's going to be really badly scheduled out, I guess.
Yeah, I think I imagine UEFA will go for the 5 subs because that's what FIFA have advised, and UEFA and FIFA often do go for the same thing. So,
but don't forget, teams in Europa League and Champions League have more squad depth than other leagues. So maybe I'm not surprised there because you got your Man U's, your Man Cities, your Spurs, your Arsenals. They've got big clubs. You got your Bayern Munich, your Olympiacos. They've got loads of players. So.
Olympiacos. Why do you mention them?
Because I was just thinking of a bit of a small club that have loads of good players. So yeah.
Can you name one Olympiacos player?
Yeah. Can you name any player from Olympiacos?
Not from the top of my head.
Loads of good players there. Can't name many. Okay, and we saw on Tuesday, which is 4 days ago now, which was actually after we recorded the show. Fulham beat Brentford in the playoff final, so we know the new teams in the Premier League next season are going to be Fulham, West Brom, and Leeds. And we briefly discussed this on our radio show on Wednesday, which I hope Cameron will get on Mixcloud soon, because
at the time of recording, I think that's one of the things I have to do as well.
At time of recording, it's still not on Mixcloud, but yeah, we discussed that and whether we think Fulham, West Brom and Leeds will stay up, but that was very brief.
I thought that had something to do on my agenda. That's what it was.
So let's discuss who we think is going to be relegated in next season's Premier League and who we think will be the champions and will get top 4. Because now we know all 20 teams in the league. So Cameron, we'll start with you this time. Who do you think is the obvious pick for relegation from the Premier League in the 2020 to 2021 season?
Very good question. It's a tough one to call already because all the teams are going to be very, very good. It's tricky. Aston Villa might be up for relegation this season because they were close to survive. Brighton, maybe. But they've signed some good players so far. I'm trying to think.
Brighton will be fine, won't they? They'll stay up. I think they could be pushing for top half. Well, Cameron, you said on the radio show you think that West Brom and Fulham will go back down to the Championship. Do you still think that?
It depends on the players they sign in the summer, and if they add to what they've got already. because next season I can guarantee it's going to be a very, very close Premier League. There's not going to be any breaks, hopefully, in a massive 4-month break in between, but it's going to be a very close for relegation and for the top half of the table. So it's going to be very tight. And I would say, yeah, West Brom, Fulham, Leeds, I think, will stay up because Bielsa's done a marvellous job at Ellen Road, and he's going to do very, very well in the Premier League next season because he did well against Arsenal in the FA Cup last season, but only losing 1-0.
Only lost 1-0 to 8th place Arsenal. What's Bielsa done that Bilic and Scott Parker haven't at West Brom and Fulham?
Won the league.
Apart from winning the league. What's he done that makes him that much better? Because they've all got promotion. No one really cares if you win the championship or come second.
Is that to me or Nick?
To both of you. Who wants to answer it?
Nick, do you want to go?
I think Bielsa just has a bigger reputation. If we're talking about in terms of just what they've done at their respective clubs that they're at currently, I think a big part about it is that Bielsa has taken a team like Leeds, who are huge historically, haven't been in the Prem for almost 20 years now, I think, back into the top flight of English football. And for a club like Leeds, that's huge. And I think that's why he's got this recognition.
Okay. So, Nick, just quickly, your bottom 3 for next season, what do you think? Because I think you as well on the show, on Wednesday on the radio show, you said you think West Brom and Fulham will go back down.
Yeah, I mean, it will probably be tight. Usually there's a team that struggles more than the rest of them. I wouldn't be able to tell you right now who that would be.
We're not gonna count our chickens yet. It's too early to call. It's really early. So it's too early to count our chickens yet because it's going to be really, really close. So
Where'd you get that phrase from?
It's an English phrase we use actually. If you were English, yeah.
I guess I'm not English then. If I don't use it.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it will be between the likes of Fulham, West Brom. I think Leeds will be down there, but I think they'll be fine. And I can see.
I have a feeling they'll do with Sheffield United this next season.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but that's quite a big claim to make. But I think other teams like Crystal Palace we could see struggling next season, especially if they finally lose Zaha, which they probably won't because there's rumours about him leaving every season. But even Newcastle with the takeover failing, it's hard to see where that leaves them in terms of next season as well.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I could see Newcastle being down there, but I think they'll just about stay up. I think Everton actually.
I think Arsenal would be down there as well. No, I'm joking. No, Arsenal won't be down there.
They might be. You never know.
If they lose Aubameyang, then yes, but not if they don't lose him.
This is a bit of a controversial opinion, but I think Everton could find themselves down there next season. Been really, really poor.
With Ancelotti, Ancelotti's never been relegated in his career.
I know, but
he's never finished in the bottom half in his career or something until Everton.
Yeah, and he came to Everton this season. A really poor first season from Ancelotti, actually, because
and don't forget, Everton have never been relegated in the Premier League.
Yeah, but Aston Villa had never been relegated until about 5 years ago when they went down.
The only big team that's been relegated is Man City, and that was twice. So.
Yeah, but they weren't big when they got relegated, were they? I mean, Everton aren't a big team anymore. They're mid-table at best now, and they have been so poor.
What Everton need to do is buy a very, very good striker, better than Calvert-Lewin, because Calvert-Lewin's not good enough for me, and a very good goalkeeper, because Jordan Pickford is absolutely atrocious as well.
But they've already spent big. They've signed all these players. They've spent a lot of money on Moise Kean, on Alex Iwobi, on Pickford. They've already splashed the cash, but their recruitment isn't good enough. So are they going to go big again this summer and sign loads more players?
We have to wait and see. It's up to what the owner Farhad Moshiri wants to give to Ancelotti to buy, because it depends. It depends on what he wants to do.
Nick, you mentioned it a minute ago. Crystal Palace, I think they'll go down as well. Last summer, I said they should sack Roy Hodgson. I think they should still sack him because 14th place is not progression, and I think next season, if they stay with Hodgson, I can see them easily dropping down a few more places again into the relegation zone. They've just got no attacking threat apart from arguably Jordan Ayew this season. Zaha's dropped off a cliff this season. and they haven't really got any depth in attack as well, apart from Benteke and Townsend. So I could easily see them go down. And at times their defence is shaky as well. So I think Palace and Everton, and I also think Leeds might go down as well, because Marcelo Bielsa, everyone's saying he's a brilliant manager, he's going to easily keep them up. But I don't really see what that reputation is built on, because he's never really managed a really big club. He's never won anything massive, any big trophies. So I also don't think he's built for a relegation sort of team, like trying to keep them in the league. I don't think he has the ambition and the drive to keep them in the league. I think he's more of a reserved manager, and I don't think he'll.
And his English is not very good.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the mentality to be battling around in the bottom of the table like the likes of Neil Warnock, or I don't know, Chris Wilder might have, those sort of English managers that know the league.
Neil Warnock, he's not in the Premier League.
No, but I mean, in previous seasons, he's been good at keeping in the league, hasn't he? So, apart from Cardiff a couple of years ago, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds go straight back down. I can see West Brom and Fulham staying up, as Fulham, pretty much with a similar squad, have been in the Premier League a couple of years ago. So I think they'll really want to learn from that experience, and they will have learned from that experience. And I think they'll improve their defence, and I think they'll stay up. And then West Brom, Slaven Bilic, another experienced manager in the Premier League, did really well at West Ham. And also, again, West Brom, they know the Premier League. They've got some Premier League players that are in their squad. And Charlie Austin up front is an absolute goal scorer. He scored like 20 goals at QPR in the Premier League before. So I know you're laughing, Nick. You might think,
I mean, that was a while ago.
But if you compare him to like Leeds' striker Patrick Bamford, there's such a difference in quality, in my opinion. Let's move on to the top four now. So this season it was Man City in second, Liverpool in first, and then Man United in third and Chelsea in fourth, which didn't look like it was going to happen during the lockdown. It looked like Leicester were going to get top four, but in the end, Man United and Chelsea just beat them. Nick, do you think that top four will be the same next season of United, Chelsea, Liverpool and City?
Yeah, I do. I think that those four are a level above the rest of the teams in the league now, especially with the likes of Chelsea signing Havertz possibly, and also Werner and Ziyech. A team with that sort of quality going forward shouldn't struggle to get top four football. And again, United, they clearly have a great attack. If they can sign Jadon Sancho, which looks like it's getting closer and closer, then again, that sort of team shouldn't struggle with getting Champions League football. Arsenal, they're showing signs of progression under Arteta, but it isn't enough progress yet, I would say, to catch the likes of Chelsea and United.
And do you think Leicester might drop off a cliff next season and move into a mid-table side again, or do you think they'll push for top four like this season?
I don't think top four is realistic. Clearly, based on the form, especially in 2020, they shouldn't really be challenging for top four next season. But if they can challenge for a top seven finish, which I think is what they will do, then I think that is still a good season for Leicester.
Cameron, I'm presuming you think Arsenal will get top four?
No, actually. Well, it depends who we sign, personally. If we can get some good defenders and hopefully get Partey into the midfield, maybe we can challenge for top four, maybe for Champions League. I'm not very sure at the moment. But again, who's going to win the league? I'm not sure. It's going to be between Liverpool, City and Man U, personally.
No, it's not. Sorry.
Man United, you think they'll be in the title race?
If it's not Man U, it'll have to be Chelsea. But I don't think Frank.
No, it doesn't have to be anyone. It will remain Liverpool and Man City.
Well, we'll see, won't we? Depends who adds to the squad, to the squad depth. So personally, I would say Man City will beat Liverpool to it this next season.
So you think City will win the league with Liverpool, Chelsea and United in the top four, Cameron?
Mm-hmm. I think
Nick.
Arsenal squeeze into fifth.
Nick, so you think that top four as well? Who do you think is going to win the title next year?
I reckon it'll be a lot closer than this year. obviously. But I'm always gonna back Liverpool at this stage. You know, there's if they can just strengthen that squad depth, sign another midfielder and a couple more defenders, then I think it'll be hard to beat them next season again. But City will definitely pick themselves up, especially now that they definitely have Champions League football next season.
And as they've signed
Like-
Ake, a very good defender, good replacement for Company.
Is he a good replacement for Company?
Oh yes, he's solid.
Okay.
We'll have to see how he develops because he's not that type of player just yet, I think. But
Yeah,
no, I still
exactly.
think City will win the league, especially after their performance against Real Madrid yesterday showed just how good they are, even before
They,
they
they,
They need
They-
a level
they-
of consistency though. Like
don't forget,
this
there
season,
was. Carry on, Nick. Go.
no, this season they're 20 points behind Liverpool because they lose to teams like Southampton and Norwich. Once in a while, they drop points to Newcastle. A title-winning team needs to be more consistent than that in the
Absolutely,
current.
they need to be more
season.
consistent. They do need to be more consistent, but I think they can be more consistent because they've shown it the past 2 seasons. They've been really
No, I
consistent
agree with you.
2 years in a row. This one year has been a real blip. They've been good in some games, but they have been inconsistent. But I think next season, Pep Guardiola will drill back into them and they'll be back at it. And I think they'll be winning the league about 5 points ahead of Liverpool, I'm guessing. And also maybe only 10 ahead of Chelsea. I think Chelsea might get quite close to those top 2 as well next year.
And don't forget,
Chelsea need to sign defenders before they can be thinking about the top 2. We've seen them spend a lot of money this summer, but their defense is still not up to it.
yeah, because did you see what Aubameyang did to Zuma last week? He just turned him inside out, absolutely roasted him on the second goal.
What do we think about the chances of Tottenham getting top 4? Are they just not going to happen with
No.
Mourinho in charge?
No. Sorry, and they've lost. Are they losing Alderweireld or Vertonghen? Which one? I always get confused.
Vertonghen.
Vertonghen. Also, can I just quickly say about Real Madrid and Man City? Man City did capitalise on 2 Varane mistakes last night. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
I think City, if those 2 goals weren't given to them, they would have pushed on to get more goals because they sat back a bit towards the end of the game. They didn't really go for attack, but I think they could have easily scored more if they needed to.
yeah, and yes, back to Spurs. They need to sign more players. There's Mourinho. I think Mourinho's had it now. I don't think he's worthy of winning a title with any other clubs in the Premier League. I think he's reached his peak point now. I think he's slowly dropping off as being a trophy winner now. Personally.
Okay, well, we're bound to talk more about these predictions nearer the season, and we'll probably do a more
a mid-season.
Or at the start of the season, just before it starts, we'll probably do a more in-depth predictions when we see what teams make what signings and stuff. But
and hopefully for in the new year as well in 2021.
Yeah, we will do.
So yes, that concludes the final part of this mini-series. We hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure doing these 5 with you as ever, my co-hosts Harry and Nick. Thank you very much for joining me. Remember, like and subscribe. And yeah, have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the weather.
And don't forget to listen to the Football PM show on Mixcloud when Cameron gets around to putting it on there.
That'll probably be after we've recorded this. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your summer if we don't see you for a long time on YouTube. Or we have to see what happens. And hopefully the football will be back up and running and we have a Champions League winner very soon. And yeah, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time. So it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye. Goodbye from Harry.
Bye.
And from Nick.
Bye.
Take care and we'll see you very, very soon. Adios.